Hey, YouTube world, we are back once again, back in our humble closet abode. Sooner or later, I'm going to decorate this whole closet so that we can actually get nice YouTube videos going here. So I hope you're doing great. We've been off for a few days, so I just wanted to put something out to kind of keep everyone in the know and keep everyone in the loop because, weird times going on. I'm going to get back to consistently recording podcast stuff sooner rather than later because I mean not podcast stuff. You can always subscribe to the podcast. All the links are below, and I'm going to try to add some of them up there. I still don't know. Haven't figured out how to do that yet, but that's just I'm getting to it. So yeah, we've gone a few days without some podcast stuff or with YouTube stuff because I've realized a lot of our YouTube stuff is predicated on the day-to-day sports stuff, so it's a lot harder to keep making content in that fashion. But we will not give up on the YouTube platform. We will continue to make excellent content or repost funny videos. One way or another, we will continue creating YouTube content. And that is our mission as we continue through the podcast world. If you listen to Monday's episode of Take It Easy, which you can subscribe to again in all the links below, we discussed the construction of stadiums and how a lot of what's happening in America with the coronavirus stuff, as both the Los Angeles stadium site and the Las Vegas stadium site confirmed positive tests for the coronavirus. We're starting to see that this is turning into a bit of a public health issue as they deem it an essential service. And it's kind of becoming an issue, and it closely resembles the idea of the Qatari government and what they're doing in their construction of World Cup stadiums, where literally workers are dying on the spot as they have a situation where they're basically indentured servitudes. The government takes their passports. They continue to work under such circumstances, but then at the same time they push farther and farther kind of the speed at which they want the construction of the stadium and the poor working conditions, the fact that it's 120 degrees in Qatar. They basically average one worker death per day building soccer stadiums, which has added up to thousands of basically slave laborers that have died constructing stadiums for a soccer event that may or may not happen at the scheduled programming because, corrupt government. But overall, we had a fascinating conversation about that and how America, the trends are very similar. Rich people building stadiums because, again, Qatari bought the World Cup. Rich people building stadiums. Laborers that are at extreme risk of exposure to disease and really death when you look at the coronavirus numbers and what we're seeing right now. It's a fascinating story because we think of these things happening in Qatar and they're like human rights abuses, but then similar type things happen in America, and I don't know if it's a question about America and our ethical standards or whether it's about what we see from the Qatari government and whether it's just a human thing and whether it's a power situation instead of a human rights situation. It's just when people are in power, they need people to build the stadium for them, usually for as low as cost as possible, in order to, for some reason, build a $2 billion stadium, but not have the money to afford the actual human lives that are being put to work putting this stadium together. And I know that wasn't exactly the kind of path that you expected to go on at this point, but in a 4-minute YouTube video, that's kind of the clip that we're looking at this point, where everything we see from the Qatari government or everything we see from, Kroenke, Mark Davis, I forgot the COO of the Rams, Kevin, whatever his name is, all the stuff that we're seeing right now is not super uncommon. And yeah, you can go listen to the full podcast, and we talk a lot about that situation. It's I think a good listen. I think I get a little bit out there at the end, and the last 6 minutes are kind of just nonsense on repeat, but overall I think it's a strong topic, and I think people should go check that out for the full podcast episode as we break that down. Have a great day, YouTube world, and we'll talk to you again tomorrow. We will be back to the consistent posting sooner rather than later.